Hey everyone, it's Rob Folia and Jessica Klein with Folia Properties at Keller Williams Realty in Nashville, and we're coming to you live today to go through a topic that's actually come up a couple of times in the last couple of weeks for me, and that is basically why hire a professional even in a market that's as strong and as basically an extreme seller's market that we're in. Like, what difference does it make? And we're going to go through a couple of quick things and show you the difference that it makes. And so, you ready to jump in, Jessica?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. And hey, before I even do, I wanted to say it at the beginning of this video in case you don't get to the end of the others. If you're seeing this on recording on YouTube or on our email, we do this every week live on Facebook, on my personal Facebook page, usually Fridays at right around 11 a.m. So if you're interested in joining the conversation live, come aboard and check it out. But let's jump in and get started. And Jessica, we're looking at one of our awesome line graphs that we check out pretty regularly, because again, this is all about informing and educating the public about real estate. And what I've got pulled up here is the percent of list price, the average percent of list price that homes are selling for. And it's a rolling 12 months, and you can see it goes back almost 4 years now. Do you want to explain kind of what this is? Like when it says 98.8%, what that actually means?
Yeah, so that means whatever the house is listed for, say it's listed for $100,000, on average, it's selling at 98% of that, or 98.8% of that rate. So $98,000.
Yeah, exactly. And that's an average across the board. I just pulled up Davidson County for this just to give us an idea. And you may be thinking, well, gosh, why are you telling me this? That sounds good. Well, if I'm getting almost 99% of my asking price, why does that matter? And it's all relative, guys. And the reason I wanted to share this is our average this year for our listings is 101.6. It's actually a little above 101.6%. And you can see that's almost a 3% difference between the average and the results we're getting. That doesn't mean every single home we can promise you 3% more, but it does tell you that on average against the average person that's out there, that's what you can expect. And that's just, I just want to show you some of the actual data behind why it matters, because I want to give you an example. And I've actually got a listing of ours that's about to close here in a couple of days pulled up, and you can just see an example of the professional photography that we use, as to attract buyers. But then one of my favorite things that we've been using, and shout out to our friends over at Real 3D Space, because they put this stuff together for our listings, our 3D walkthroughs on our listings. We do this for all of our homes, and this allows a buyer to actually see a property, to see if they're interested in it. And my computer's going slow, so it's not letting me tour too much right now. But it allows you to actually see. There it goes. All right, cool. It allows you to actually walk through and see a property. A pretty cool tool if you're a buyer looking for a home, and ultimately that's how we help attract these higher prices. Is this making sense, Jessica?
Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned that word, like this attract people to the property, right? Like I was in a webinar the other day, and someone had this great analogy. He was saying that these marketing materials, the pictures and the walkthrough, all that stuff, that's like, well, like Zillow is like the Tinder of real estate, right? So people are on Zillow and they see these pictures, and they're swiping right, they're swiping left, and they're deciding which properties they want to continue dating. And so if you have a property that, I mean, there are lots of properties that look just like this on the inside, and there's someone going through with their phone and getting pictures that don't look half as good as this. And so they're not getting that date that this property did.
Exactly. That's a good way to say it. I don't know if I've ever heard that analogy, but you're absolutely right. That's a great analogy that they gave. And I mean, that's just the reality of what we're seeing. And in fact, I'll give you two examples real quick of why this matters. It actually earlier today, and I'm not going to give the address or the listing agent or anything. However, a client of ours had reached out and said, "Hey, I'm kind of curious about this house." So I clicked on the, because we send our auto notifications to our buyers, and I clicked on the notification that I sent, and sure enough, it looked like a great house in her price range. Only one picture. It was basically, if all these didn't exist, and it was just this one picture that was out there, a picture of the front of the home. So, and obviously I wanted to see if this makes sense for our client to date, like you said, Jessica, for as a client or a client to check out. So I actually reached out to the listing agent. Hey, do you have any interior photos of the home? I'm thinking, even if this person just took pictures with their cell phone and was able to share, maybe they're not great marketing pictures, they're not a great framed up photo of a kitchen, and yet we can see the finishes, things like that. Simple response, nope, don't have any. And I was blown away that this person's not putting more effort to sell their client's property. Then I followed up. I had to basically pry out of this person the details about the property so I could find out what kind of finishes does it move in ready, does it need work? Because there's so many factors that go into if a person wants to do more than just which way is it on Tinder? You swipe right to
I
accept.
don't even know.
Yeah, I don't either. It shows we're both in committed relationships, but whichever one it is, to say, hey, I want to swipe right and go that direction, or swipe left, whichever one it is. The pictures allow somebody to say that about a home. And unfortunately, not everybody gets that type of representation. And when you don't, this is what you get in a hot market where everything's selling and selling at in record time. It seems like when you don't have that expert representation, you get this close to 99% of asking price, which you may think, hey, that sounds pretty good, until you know that there's better out there. And a 3% difference on, like this home right here, what were we listed at? 525. 3% difference on 525, y'all. That's a
not a small difference. Yeah.
That's not a $1,000 difference. That's a big change. And so it does matter who's representing you, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. And also for anyone who's thinking, maybe I'm saving 3%, but what does this cost? We cover the cost of all of these pictures, all of the walkthrough, everything that we do marketing wise is on us. And that's our responsibility, and that's what you hire us for. So that's absolutely not included in your fees.
Thank you for sharing that, Jessica. You're absolutely right. There's no surplus marketing fee. Like I said, our shout out to our friends over at Real 3D Space for always doing such a great job with not only the 3D tours like this, but the actual photos that you're seeing as well. And you're absolutely right. This stuff is not charged to the client. The client's not hiring Real 3D Space. These are things that we arrange, that we put together to get our people taken care of. And so, anyway, I hope that makes sense in what we're trying to come across here and share with everybody.
Absolutely. And one more thing that I was thinking about as we first started having this conversation, properties like that one that just have that one picture of the front, the one that's from half a mile away and you're looking through some trees and you can't quite see the front of the house. I don't know about you, Rob, but when I see just that one picture and the lack of interior pictures, my mind instantly goes to, well, what's wrong with the inside? And
Absolutely.
Buyers think that same thing. And that's a big problem when you're working to sell a home.
100%. I'm so glad you said that, Jessica, because you're right. In fact, that was my thought about this home I was telling you about from our client, that the only picture was a picture similar to this of the outside. And they even have in their notes about, painting or doing some work to the home. So I'm sitting there thinking, great. So are we walking into a home like this that's 100% move-in ready, in great shape, amazing finishes, or are we walking into a project? And knowing that client has no want or desire to do a project, it immediately made me think, well, hey, that's not the right home for this person. Whereas if there are pictures that you'd see, hey, there's some great flooring, great countertops, great fill in the blank, whatever the pros are about the property, you don't have those thoughts. And again, that's just why it matters who you're working with. And again, not everybody's created equally. So, just because somebody has a real estate license and access to the MLS, those are simply tools. And just like any carpenter with tools in the toolbox, the tool's only as powerful as the person who's actually yielding the tool and using it. And it's, so make sure you're hiring the right carpenter, so to speak, the right person to help you with your house.
And for anyone who's interested, we're always happy when people are interviewing multiple people. We want everyone to end up with the best realtor they can. You can search people on Zillow, on HomeSnap. The MLS has a customer tool, so you can search and see what kind of what their listings look like and what it's going to be like for you, if you're going to be their client. So, and feel free to look us up and look anybody else up you're interested in.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that, Jessica. And if anybody has any questions, I'll stop playing with this 3D tool. I think it's such a cool thing. I don't care how many we do. I think they look really neat. Anyway, though, I'll stop messing around with it. If y'all have any questions, give us a shout. You can either comment on here directly or PM us directly. You can call us 615-591-5665. Email info@foliaproperties.com. check us out at foliaproperties.com. And before we sign off, are there any questions or comments on the live feed that we should address?
Nope, none that I see. But like Rob said, we will be keeping up with it. And if you have any questions, just let us know.
Awesome. Well, until next time, we'll see y'all next week. If you need
Thanks,
anything, give us a
guys.
shout. Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.